Welcome to your miracle moment. I'm Marcy Scheimoff.
And I'm Deborah Poneman, and we're the co-founders of Your Year of Miracles, where we help thousands of women around the world live in the Miracle Zone. And today's miracle moment is about one of the most common ways that we think we're gaining more power when actually the opposite is happening, and that is when we justify our actions, blame other people, try to be right by making somebody else wrong, which we never do.
No.
Never. Or
Yes,
when
we
we see if we can hurt another person more than they just hurt us, which we actually don't do.
Yeah, we don't do that. So, you know, Deb, I interviewed a wonderful author, a friend of ours named Russell Bishop. I interviewed him for Love for No Reason, one of my books, and he told me this great story about Buckminster Fuller. And
I know the story,
You do,
and
yeah.
I love the story, and it's a perfect example of what we just mentioned. And Buckminster Fuller is someone who both of us have admired for decades for his absolutely genius out-of-the-box thinking. And this story shows how he had the powerful ability to be really centered and not react or come from blame or justification, even when he was confronted by his detractors.
yeah, so let me read to you Russell's story. This is in his own words that he shared with me when I interviewed him for Love for No Reason. And it was his experience of Buckminster Fuller at an event. He said, back in the late 70s, I had the great privilege of seeing the legendary innovator Buckminster Fuller lecture in San Francisco. And when he finished speaking, the audience was invited to engage in dialogue via open mic around the auditorium. Well, one gentleman took the mic and proceeded to tell Bucky that he was full of hens. No, sorry, full of beans. I need glasses. Full of beans. That he didn't know what he was talking about. And he had no basis for his point of view. And Bucky paused for a minute, and he looked toward the speaker and he said, "Thank you." Well, as Bucky turned toward another person, the gentleman raised his voice and raised his hand, and he repeated his denunciation of Bucky and his thoughts a bit more firmly. Again, Bucky paused and he looked squarely at the speaker and he replied, "Thank you." Once again, Bucky turned to another person, and once again the gentleman raised his voice, repeated his diatribe, and offered quite a bit of angry energy to his comments, asking why he was being dismissed for what he had said. Well, this time Bucky responded something like this: "Did you not notice that I paused to consider what you had to say? I looked inside myself to see if some part of me was reacting to what you had said about me, particularly if some part of me were upset, prone to counterattack, or otherwise affected." He said, "I found that when I'm in that kind of reaction, there's typically something there for me to learn about myself, something from which I need to improve. But in this instance, I found no reaction. Thus, you were simply sharing your opinion, to which you're fully entitled, and with which I have no argument. Therefore," he said, "thank you seemed to be the most appropriate response."
Wow. Total wow.
Like, wow. I mean,
Total wow.
how often does somebody say something attacking you that you can kind of go, "I don't know, let me see if I find that," right?
That is amazing. It totally gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, God bumps.
God bumps. God
Right.
bumps. So anyway, and Marcy and I now invite you to set an intention to follow Bucky's example and commit to, instead of reacting with blame or justification, pause. And if somebody pushes your buttons, see if there's something to look at inside yourself, just like you just said.
Yeah.
And if there is, you can say, "Thank you, I can find that." And if there isn't, simply say, "Thank you." And try it just for the next few days or weeks. Let's do it. Let's make the commitment.
Okay, we'll do it.
We'll look
We
at
hope you do it with us.
Yes, we'll all do it together and see if there's something there that we need to learn about ourselves when we see ourselves reacting, something we can improve instead of being a victim. If someone says we're full of hens or beans, just be like Bucky and don't forget that all important pause.
Yeah, pause. I can find that. So also we'd love to know, here's a question for you. When was the last time somebody attacked you or said something that could have stirred you up, and you said, instead of reacting, you did pause and say, I can find that. And that was actually a gift for you. We ask you that question. We invite you to respond to your experiences with this pause, and I can find that issue.
Yes, absolutely. And we wish you a great week filled with pauses and lots of thank yous. I can find that.